Let us see. Pause this. Yellow. Hi all. How you doing? Good evening from Norway. Hi Debbie. Hi chat. Yo Dev. It's nice to meet you too. Oh, nice to see you. Oh, it's Sam. What day is it today? It's Thursday. 12 o'clock on the nose. We are prompt human beings. Here spending time, once again, all twitchy. How's everybody doing? You okay? It has been potentially the busiest period of my life over the past couple of months. Past month specifically. It has been quite intense, but we're doing good. You're doing good as always. Just dandy. Hello, Arizona. No sound, it says. Do you guys have sound? Let's see. Are we in sync now? Let's see. Good here. Sounds perfect. Okay. Right on. Yes. Right on. Sync good. Yeah. Wank, but carry on. That is actually my credo in life. Post-COVID long hauler symptoms suck. Yeah, I've heard about that actually. I've got a bunch of friends that are dealing with that at this point as well. Sound is fine and in sync. So let me just see what can I describe about my day thus far. Well, we're in Vancouver, and the COVID triathlon continues. I think there's something that's going on with people just in general where perhaps when this all started, people had thought that it would last for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and so they had that amount of energy left. And so here we are over a year into it, and people are just over it. And that makes it more difficult when you're trying to navigate work or go shopping or what have you, right? Because there's a lot of people who are just so frustrated. But we're going. And I finished the puzzle, which was relieving because as an art project, it was super important for me to do. But maybe as a musical project, it's not the most endearing for people. So I start light work in a week and a half. And I've been working on getting the Ocean Machine stream together, which has required redoing Ocean Machine, which is fantastic. Yeah. You got to remember how to play these things for one, and then you got to remember how they go, and you got to get the drums together and the bass together. So I see the questions coming through. So why don't we start with another question? We can see where this goes. We'll just hang out for a bit. Slightly busy then, someone says. Yes. All right, so I got to remember how to pause this chat so I can get... There we go. Chat paused due to scroll. All right. I'm liking this ambient sound. Okay, well, here, I'll make a new one. Before we start getting into questions... Oh, thank you. Thanks, brother. Before we start getting into questions, I'll make a new ambient sound here just to kind of make this a real-time doohickey. So just give me a minute, and I will make something for us here. Let's see what we got. Let's see. It's supposed to be quiet, so it'll be quiet for a minute here. Oh, distorting. Let's see if I can get rid of some of that distortion. Give me a minute. I'm gonna have to redo this one. Hang on. Be with you shortly. Just talk amongst yourself. Here, I'll turn it up while I'm working on it, and then I'll turn it down after. Okay. 2 seconds. All right. So here we go again. The problem with this is always the distortion. You have to have the volume at a certain place, or else it gets all weird. Okay, we'll try that. We'll start in C here today. C major. The mellowest of all keys. All right. All right. And then let's get some sort of overdubby goodness going on. All right, so let's see how that does us. There's our ambient for the next couple of minutes. All right, where were we? You don't hear the output of the guitar here. I'll turn it up just a touch. So someone asks, is there any chance we could hear the song Ocean Machines for the live stream? I think that may be a little difficult because I've got a week to get everything together, and I've currently just been trying to get the bulk of the stuff in there. Death of Music, for example, it requires a lot of new things, right? So I don't know if I'll be able to get to that song, but I'll try. Maybe I can do a version of it. Someone says, I can't wait to hear greetings again. Well, greetings to you. Oh, it's Chilliwack. Hey. I'm just kind of got to get warmed up to talking to people again because it's been crazy. So let's see. I'm just going to scroll through some of these questions and I'll just start talking. What's up, Dev? Someone says. I say back to you, not much. C major in open C. Yeah, that's how I roll. Okay, let's see. Hello from Barnsley, South Yorkshire, England. Earth Day. Oh, it's Earth Day today, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, well, maybe before the end of the stream, I'll do a bit of Earth Day. Okay. How's the mastering coming along? So that's done. The puzzle project has been delivered, and the art is in, and the film is just in its latter stages of being completed. And it was the most therapeutic project I think I've ever done. But you know what? I'm gonna just say it. It's like it's a strange thing to listen to. So I really hope that those of you who want to listen to it have patience for it, because the record after, the Lightwork record, will be a very melodic and very clean record. It was almost like Puzzle felt like, it's like in order to bleach the system, like to clear out the past year, I had to make this music and this statement. But it's like when you take a dirty artery and you clean it out, and then what's left over at the end, all that sludge, is what it ended up being. And so it was a very difficult project, and I'm very proud of it, but I'm very glad to have it done. I just feel like I feel so much better. I feel so much better for having done that. Open Sea Tuna, someone says. Oh, it's Violet, of course. Let's see what else we got here. Devin, I'm looking to upgrade my version of Cubase to Artist or Pro, but I was wondering if you think it would be better to use that money and get a different DAW, Logic perhaps. Well, I've been using Pro Tools for as many years as I have, but it's like Adobe or Mac, where they kind of, once you're involved with it, you end up paying through the nose for it. And although it's a language that I understand, I don't know if I can necessarily recommend it now. However, I work with Logic a lot, and it's a $200 program that has everything. It's unbelievable, actually. It's not as user-friendly for me when it comes to editing, but in terms of creation of music, Logic is really a great program now. So I would suggest that. Although I got a lot of friends that use Cubase and love that. Logic is great. That's how you clean the intestines out to make haggis. Okay, so Puzzle then is essentially my musical equivalent of the ingredients of haggis, which is probably as appealing as the music actually is. But you'll see, it's great. But I started writing the Lightwork album this week. Well, I mean, I've been working on it for a year, and I took a break from it so I could get all the haggis guts out of my system. But getting back to it now is so nice, so nice. Have you found it easier to stop obsessing over Puzzle now that it's purged? Yeah, actually. And I think a lot of the reason why Puzzle is important for me is I think there's going to be a lot of people that just, if they're listening to it as a record, they're just not going to like it, right? And that's hard on the ego to a certain extent, because you want people to like everything that you do, because your reason for doing it is that. But as a statement, it was so important to me. It was so important to me, and I had to allow it to be honest. And honestly, the last year was just so strange that it became this formless, chaotic thing that I needed to do. And I was not obsessed with it, but compelled to finish it correctly, as I do with all the projects. And it was just such a strange thing that by the time it was done, it literally felt like you just vomited. And then now when I pick up my guitar and start writing, it feels so clean. So the function of that project has been unbelievably therapeutic for me. So there's that. Hey, Devin, how do you approach writing in major keys? I always struggle with it coming out as Psalms. Well, maybe I just don't stop it from being that. Well, for me, the way that writing in a major key has been so effective is that I use the ninth, the interval, the ninth, and the second. And then it suspends it, and it allows me to sort of create within this Lydian framework that, although has a major feeling, also has this kind of, not mysterious, but sort of ethereal kind of thing. And I find myself inspired to go in that direction ever since Led Zeppelin as a kid, right? So there's that. Thank you for the music. You're welcome. These past few days have been rough on my mental state, and just listening to your music, more specifically Flight from Casualties of Cool, has helped me out. That's great. Thank you. A lot of that is Che. I mean, her voice is fantastic. In fact, that song, Flight, got picked up by CSI Los Angeles for an episode. I don't know if it'll ever be heard, but they gave us $500, so hooray. I hope the Ocean Machines shirts are in stock after I move. Yeah, I would like that too. How is Super Sloth? Oh, it's Borwell. Great. Actually, he exists with his cool little Hawaiian shirt. So just as a backstory for those who are confused by this statement, this person here, when we were in, I think it was Germany, Grunspan, wasn't it? They brought me a little stuffed sloth, like a sloth stuffy, that had a Hawaiian shirt on it. And when people give me those cool things when we're on tour, I keep them, right? What's funny is on that last American tour that we were doing, when the stage setup ended up being all the stuffies people would bring to us, like we had all those stuffed animals that we brought. But then when the pandemic hit and we had to leave immediately out of Graceland or Nashville, currently in Nashville, we are renting a storage space that has 7 bags of stuffies from that tour. Hey, thank you for the donation. So I keep them. Even at the jam spot, there's all these flags and things that have been donated over the years. It means a lot. Okay, so some other questions. Could we get a lossless version of Take My Ego and Cry Forever? Eventually, yes, absolutely. In fact, we're working on a new site. So you may have noticed, if you're coming to the Ocean Machine stream on the 1st of May, that it's a new thing. We're not going with Stage It, which bummed them out, and that was unfortunate because they were really cool people. But it just seemed to make sense for the future of what we do to be able to do a Shopify site that we could not only do streams, but we could also do things like lossless audio and a lot of potential from that portal that could be really cool. And so I would love to be able to go back in the catalog and revisit a lot of those things. And I'm happy to do whatever people are interested in. So forgive me for, again, it's going to take me a while to start talking again here. I've been so used to just trying to deal with the business stuff over the past couple of days that my mind's in this kind of strangely pragmatic way right now. Hey, Dev, we met in Cardiff. My daughter won a meet and greet. I mentioned I'm working on Y for brass. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember you. If you get it done, please post it to the Twitter. I would love to see that. That's awesome. Let's see. Saying Devin wouldn't get the say in that. Would be Sony, as he doesn't necessarily own the rights to all of it. Yeah, it comes up for renewal every now and then. And in fact, the back catalog, I re-signed some of the back catalog to Sony, but Puzzle is on my own. And then I think Lightwork is the last record that I have with Sony, and then I can sort of decide to maybe do it another way. I'm thinking of actually making Heavy Devy Records a thing now, because for years it's always just kind of been this way that I could license to labels. But as things progress, there's so many restrictions that get placed on what you do creatively and artistically through the algorithms with Spotify and YouTube and all this, that it might be cool to start being more independent again. But we'll see. Flying in a Blue Dream is Lydian classic. Yeah, that was Joe and Steve, and that was really the thing in the 80s that did it for me too. Will you ever play Soul Driven Cadillac? Well, I would like to, absolutely. You know what's interesting? Just as a side note, when this thing here says chat paused due to scroll, they're lying. It doesn't pause at all. It just keeps scrolling. So the idea, I guess, is because who knows how long all this is going to go on. The combination of lockdowns and pandemic and you know, the craziness that has been the past 13 months. I don't know what it's like with you. I've got a bunch of friends in America and the UK where they're saying that it's opening back up again for them, but Canada is arguably the worst it's ever been. So we're stuck. Like, they've got roadside checks to make sure that you're not going in the right, not going to places that you shouldn't be going and all this sort of thing. So for me, I am trying to make sure that I can get out there in the future. But at the same time, until such time that Canada gets its shit together, I'm just going to keep making streams, I guess, and records. So I got Lightwork and then Puzzle, and Puzzle has all these sorts of things like movies and games and toys and video screens and like box sets and vinyl and all this sort of thing. And then Lightwork's the next one, and I really want to make something clean and powerful and beautiful and heavy and romantic and melodic. And then I'm doing the Ocean Machine stream next. But then the thought is maybe once things settle down a little bit, I could do other records. Maybe I could do Accelerated Evolution or Terria or Infinity. And in that case, yeah, I would love to be able to revisit Soul Driven or something, right? Someone says, I'm an Ontarian stuck in Quebec. Yeah, it's crazy in Canada. It's like, it's so funny to see other parts of the world saying, oh, we're having shows again. But in Vancouver and Ontario, it's like you can't really go out. Oh, Italy too, someone says. All right. Slowly opening back up in the UK as more people get vaccines. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny is I'm supposed to do the Bloodstock Festival. And so I've put in my applications for vaccines and I'm trying to make sure that we can get it all happening. But man, it's a gong show. Stuck in the Okanagan, someone says. Exactly. Oh, okay. Georgia is nowhere close to having its shit together. Oh, okay. Okay. What is a contrarian about? Somebody asks. I think it's probably about me in terms of at least the name of the song. I don't actually remember what the song how the song goes or what the lyrics are. But I I tend to write just based on, like, I tend to title songs just based on my first thought. And I think the contrarian, I've always been that way. I remember when I was a kid, and you know, I was my girlfriend at the time had said, like, whatever you do, don't cut your hair, or no, it wasn't cut my hair because I was already going bald. It's like, don't shave your eyebrows. And I was like, all right, I'll shave my eyebrows, right? Like, and that was the same thing with my parents when I was a kid. If they wanted me to do something, they would ask me to do the opposite. And so, that dysfunction, it's a dysfunction when you're a 50-year-old, but as a kid, it's more acceptable on some level. So I think the contrarian's about me, right? Somebody says, are you a vegan or a vegetarian? I tend to be vegan when I'm on tour because it's like a type of discipline that really helps me with other things. But at home, it's vegetarian when I'm at home. However, it's like, when I sometimes I'll eat meat, but not really. It's like I'll eat it if it's offered to me in a way that is really kind-hearted and people have put a lot of effort into, like I remember I used to, like, when I've been vegetarian basically for 30 or 40 years, but I would go see my grandparents when we were kids, and my grandmother would be like, well, here's lunch. And I'm like, oh, there's chicken in it. I'm vegetarian. She's like, oh, it's just a little bit of chicken. Or chicken's not meat. So as opposed to making a stink about it because she's my grandma and I loved her, I would just eat it. Like, it's already dead. She put love into it, so I'll eat it. So situations like that, I think, are a little more mutable. I love the song Empath, someone says. I love that song, too. I'm glad that you like that one. That was one that I remember when it was being written. I remember feeling really strongly for that one, so thank you. Yeah, Ocean Machine stream is devintownsendshop.com. There we go. Let's see. Easier to find ethically raised dairy and eggs at home than on tour, I imagine. Well, not during a pandemic necessarily, right? Guess I won't be taking you for cheesy chips when you come back to Newcastle. Oh yeah, I'd love cheesy chips. Like, I mean, I'm not super stringent on these things, It's not I hope that my identity isn't super tied into these things. I tend to just choose that as opposed to making it like a real, like, heavy lifestyle thing. It's just, if I have the option of vegetarian or meat, I just kind of choose vegetarian, but it's not because I identify myself as a vegetarian necessarily. It's just, I don't know. I don't think about it that much. It just kind of, that's the thing, right? David, do you think you could whip out the old Ocean Machines demo for the stream? I've been asked this by a bunch of people now, so I'm starting to think that I should put some effort into it. Okay, so I'm going to make a note, and I'm going to see if I can remember how to play Ocean Machines to some degree for the stream on the 1st. All right, so Ocean Machines. Because that's let me just see if I can remember. I mean, it was like, I'm feeling fall, I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who you are. I found a way through the Ocean Machine. When it is time, you will know what it means. Life finds a way, and it always will be. When it is time, we will see what we'll see. I guarantee. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. In fact, there's a couple of songs might be cool to revisit for the Lightwork project, maybe. That one I always like, Sit in the Mountain as well, and I never really finished that one. So maybe that would be a cool approach to try and revisit those songs in some way. Well, we'll see. Thank you. There's no what you eat scoreboard. Aw. That's it. Any upcoming collaborations with Annika? Yeah, we had a we had a Zoom call the other day. I mean, we're good friends. I love Annie, and she did a little thing on the puzzle, but again, puzzle's not music. I can't say it enough. It's well, you'll see. I'm not. I'm just like I'm gonna stop talking about it because it's. I feel like I'm making excuses for it, and all I'll say is it's not a record. It's not meant to be the follow up to Empath. It's not meant to be any of that. It's something I had to do just to get it, just to move forward. So Annie sang a bit on that too, but you know. I'm so fucking excited for the Ocean Machine stream. Me too. So we're doing it in a new way too, because the idea is, you know, every time we do these streams, fortunately, a lot of the times it's you guys that are coming to this. It's like, I feel really fortunate that the audience that I have it's a group of people. It's not like it expands greatly. But the people that do come have been there typically for a long time, and so knowing that when it comes to doing a stream, you want it to be different every time. You want it to be a little more unique. So with Ocean Machine, I got an idea, and I think it's going to be really cool. And relearning the material, I really like that stuff too. I'm shocked how much I remember the experience of writing it. I remember Ocean Machine so well because I had written it right before I had gotten into the Steve Vai band. I remember playing Funeral, which at that time was called Funeral in the Rain. And I like the way that Funeral was written was this weird. My roommate at the time when I moved to Los Angeles, he had mentioned that it sounded like heavy metal helicopters because I'd have like a ping pong delay that was set up to be like ding, 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 like the tempo of Funeral, which I think is 152 or 158 beats per minute. But as opposed to playing the notes, I hit it with my thumb. So it would just be like ting, 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 ting. And it would create this kind of thing. And that's actually how it was written. And that song and Death of Music, what else? Voices in the Fan. Those things were written before I moved to LA. And so actually going back and listening to those songs is really nice. I remember I wrote Greetings in Uppsala while I was mixing City. So me and Daniel Bergstrand were working at his studio, and it was just him and I there for weeks. You know, if you've heard the story, that's it, right? But I wrote Greetings while sitting on these concrete steps outside his studio because there's all these little beetles, like literally beetles, the insects, that were, it's like they had some weird little community, and every time I came out I would notice there'd be like the same beetle, and he would come out, and I think I called one of them Joe. Sad but true snare, that's Ocean Machine as well, exactly. If you hadn't heard that, when we were mixing Ocean Machine, we did it all on ADAT, me and Daniel, and we couldn't get the snare to sound right, and we didn't necessarily have a good snare sample because it was 1995 or 1994 where things were not as readily accessible on the internet. So the snare on Ocean Machine, for those who don't know, is just a sample of Metallica's snare from Sad But True. Dun, 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 dun. It was the last one. Dun, 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 dun. That one, we just took that, and then we put it in manually as the snare for Ocean Machine, right? Someone says thank you, and I say thank you in return. Funeral, Death of Music. I love the seagull sounds. Yeah, Funeral is emotional. So that was the song Funeral was about the first time I had to confront death. I had a friend of mine when we were in our teens who was killed, and going to the funeral was just, you know, it's the first time I saw like a dead body, and it was just so strange for me to participate in because it was my friend, and I'm thinking like, this is just a shell. Like, where are you? You're not here. This is so surreal. And it was just very, you know, as these things are, it was really intense. I think Regulator is criminally underrated. I like the fact that things are underrated, in a sense. I don't, I just want to function and be creative and play for the people who want to hear it. But, the idea of like some of the levels of notoriety that even some of my peers get, I'm just like, wow, I don't want that, man. I just want to be able to play. I read, someone said, oh, okay, I must have wrote that in the book. Someone said they read about the snare and only half there. Bastard, someone says in capital letters. So I'm hoping you're referring to the song, but if not, I get it, right? Yeah, Bastard was written. What's the story behind Bastard? Well, the girl from Blue City. Um, it was just a bad night. It was just one of those experiences when you're in your early 20s that just ended poorly. And by the end of it, I remember thinking, "Oh, this is ugly." But I think those things are good for me. They have been, like, all those ugly things have been good for me because it allows me to sort of be a little bit more honest with myself. Even this last project, that on an egocentric level, when I listen to it, I'm like, oh man, it's so weird. It's not music. It's just chaos, and it's just formless, ambient, ugly garbage that has movies and video. It's so strange. But the thing why that was so healthy for me, I think, on a creative level, is because it's the process of making this last puzzle thing started with me trying to write light work and trying to pretend like everything was all right, like the function of the work, and you want to be able to use your ability to create to help people. Ultimately, I mean, that's the ideal for any artist, I would hope. Maybe not. No, that's not true. But I mean, for me at least. And so when I started, I realized that I was lying to myself in a sense by pretending that everything was just like, oh, it's all super cool. Everything's great. And I was like, no, this is horrible and super ugly and super weird. And you're dealing with, like I'm sure all of us here, you're dealing with the family dynamics, or you've got the divisiveness between, maybe your in-laws and your parents, or your friends, and there's people that you used to talk to easily, but that now all of a sudden everything's politicized, and everything's got, it's so loaded, and no one's got a place to hang the anxiety, so you get all this free-floating hostility, and it ends up coming out in all these inappropriate ways, and everybody's just looking for a reason to explode, and all these sorts of things, right? And the winter over now, I mean, it's sunny, and typically I like it when it rains, but it's nice to have some nice days too, because it lifts your moods, or at least mine. But over the winter, it was getting dark at like 3 in the evening, and everybody's upset, and I was just like, you know what? I don't feel like writing clean, happy music. That's just not where I'm at. I just feel like it's just chaos, and so that's what I got to do. But it's not chaos like Alien or Infinity, where it was tightly wound and structured. It's just vomit, right? I think, okay, so what's it like living life inside a comic book? Does it hurt getting punched by bad guys? I think, living in a sort of fantasy world for many years. But I find now it makes much more sense for me to just be focused, and I appreciate the clarity that comes with that focus, specifically if you've got a business that you're trying to run, a small business, and try to be there for your family and your parents and your friends and all this. It's like if you've got responsibility, I always liken it to if you're on a plane and there's turbulence on the plane, and if the captain starts panicking, it doesn't do anybody any good, right? So you got to try and just keep your shit together. And so that's been a lot less comic book-esque than it had been in the past, right? Yeah, someone says I felt like that when they saw their mother pass away a few years back. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, my friend. Life is super intense, super intense. Ocean Machine lifts up your mood. Thank you. The dark nights and the dark mornings are an ass kicker. Yeah. Hey, here's a question for y'all. I feel like I have forgotten how to sleep lately. Like, I've always had insomnia to some degree. But lately, like the past 2 weeks, I'm lying in bed and I'm like, how do you do this? I forget how you're supposed to sleep. It's insane. And what's funny is I call up family, friends, you know, even kids and nephews and everything, everybody's just kind of awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. Last night, I had a lot of things that I have to get through in the next few days, like namely getting the Ocean Machine stream ready. It's like, I mean, it's tons of work, right? So I think, well, okay, so I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be well rested and I'll have my morning routine and everything's going to be fantastic, right? But then after going to bed at midnight or whatever it was, I wake up at 1:30 in the morning or 2 in the morning, and that's it. And I'm just staring at the roof going, how do humans sleep? Like, what's the function? Do you close your eyes and things happen? It's like crazy. Someone says, do you nap during the day? Not really. A lot of the work that I do has to do with people in different time zones, like whether or not it's on the East Coast or it's in Europe or it's in Australia or whatever. So it's best for me to be able to function throughout the day. But so what I did last night, okay, so, okay, this is funny. Yeah, someone just says it could be weather changes. I think that's a lot of it, actually. It's like barometric pressures, right? So someone says they tried 500 different sleeping positions. Yeah. All right, so here's what my day yesterday was like. This was fantastic, too. So I got the stream coming up on the 1st, and setting that all up and getting all the special things for it and blah, 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 blah. Figuring out the music, learn how to sing it, learn how to play it. So what I've been doing to try and counteract my inability to sleep is, yeah, well, obviously someone says meditation. Of course, I do meditation in the morning, meditation at night. But that being said, I've been saying, okay, so I haven't had devices where I sleep for a couple of years now, and that's been great. But what I've been doing instead is reading. So I read before I go to sleep. But what happened yesterday and over the past couple of months is my throat, it all of a sudden felt like I had this crazy blockage in my throat. And I was thinking, oh my God, that's like, and feeling it for lumps and all this. And so I called the doctor, and 2 months ago I went in for an ultrasound on my throat, and they found nothing. There's no nodules, there's no cysts, there's no tumors. It's like, but then the past couple of nights when I've been trying to sleep, I just think, okay, well, read a little bit more before you go to sleep. And so I've been doing that. And then I woke up yesterday and my throat was so sore that swallowing was really painful. So I called the doctor yesterday and I said, hey, listen, we went for the ultrasound a couple months back, came back negative. And I woke up this morning and it's just unbelievable. And so upon discussing what the potential things that it could be, she says, well, what's your schedule before you go to sleep? And I said, well, I read in bed. And she goes, well, I think that's a problem. I think it's musculature. I think that because of the position that I've been reading in, the muscles around my throat, I guess, are like either not sprained, but strained. And so I didn't read last night, and it feels a little better today. However, I didn't sleep for shit, so there it is. Yeah. Someone says you're a contrarian. Have your wife tell you not to sleep. Yeah, there's the tense, too. You know what's interesting? Someone says you're probably too tense. The only thing I want to do is make a camping joke about too tense, but I guess that's the joke in that, right? But the thing is, I think you've got a certain amount of tension during this whole period, all of us, that's kind of inevitable. I don't think that so I do meditation, and I drink tea, and I read books, and I go for walks, and I, try and mitigate any of the problems in my life that are demanding things that are unreasonable for me. And past that point, there's just, it's a tense time. Oh yeah. Look up globus pharyngeus. All right, let me write that down. Globus, something to do with the pharynx, I guess, right? If you send me to something like Lemon Party, I'm going to be pissed. Maybe not. Someone says, for real, I'm so tense as well. Yeah. How's the stuff going with Neural DSP? All right, so they sent me a mail yesterday and today because I guess they had some technical issues with Quad Cortex that they wanted to solve with the firmware, and they wanted to solve that before they sent me the unit. And so they sent it last week. I sent them my Roland GP100, and so we've got the whole pathway of how it's supposed to go in process now of coming together. But the actual work of getting that done is going to be extensive. So we're looking at getting it out like January of 2022. I think that's it, right? Oh, it's a feeling of having a partial throat blockage. Ah, neat. Excited for the new Gojira album. Yeah, I love Gojira, but you know, more so than the band. And of course, they're one of the greatest heavy metal bands around right now, of course. But I just really like, you know, Joe's a friend. I really like Joe. We're friends, and so I pay attention to them from that vantage point more so than others, in a sense, right? Slight contradiction, but I find overthinking about my health can increase stress. Yeah, that's the hypochondriacs, right? Heavily considering the neural cortex, but the pre-order wait times. I think they've straightened it out now, but I've been so busy. How about you guys? Have you been as slammed as it feels like me and most of the people that I know have been? I think a lot of people have felt that this particular time in history was going to just result in just this kind of nebulous zone that people exist in. But for me, I think it has a lot to do with trying to pivot what I do professionally and trying to figure out ways to make this work. It's constant work, and Zoom calls too. Man, that's a thing, right? Dude, I quit my job a month ago, and I'm stress-free but not happy. I'm sorry about that, my friend. Yeah, I feel like it's only work. Exactly. And what's interesting too is I love being able to communicate with you guys and gals and those in between, because it's like, this is how come I can do these things. But I find that my days are just so slammed that it's just trying to find time to do normal life things is crazy. Okay, I'm getting sick of this loop, so I'm going to make a new loop. Okay, so I'm going to turn it up while I make the loop. So talk amongst yourselves. All right. So I'll turn this up for now. And let's nuke this one. Let's do another one. Just give me a second. All right. Let's go into a different key. So we'll go in D maybe. D minor. Wasn't that the saddest of all keys? All right. Let's see. It's going to be quiet, but it'll pick up in a minute. Okay, so let's make this cool. Oh, I did it wrong again. I'm so sorry. So what I meant to do was you start at that. That's how you do it. Right. It's been a while since I did this. Let's go back into this. So we start in D. We're in D minor. Saddest of all keys. Here, I'm working towards this again. I love having a soundtrack. It's kind of like the majority of the writing is more about trying to create some sort of a background watercolor that allows you to illustrate your frame of mind, I guess, right? There we go. So now what we're wanting to do is this. There we go. Okay, let's see. And then that'll do. All right, so now we're in a pensive mood. Now I'm going to turn this back down. So someone says, can you tell us your experience with Nathan Navarro? Okay, so Nathan, bass player, who's played on a bunch of stuff, Empath and the Order of Magnitude tour and a bit of Puzzle. He's an incredible bass player, like just an astounding bass player, but more so than that, as I was even saying about Joe, the Gajira connection, Nathan is one of the nicest people I think I've ever met, let alone worked with. He's so kind-hearted, and he's got this kind of Marlboro Man vibe about him. When you're talking to him, like I'm out and you know me, I'm neurotic and always kind of on Amber Alert. And I'd be running around backstage, like trying to figure out and get everything plugged in and whatever. And Nathan would be like, hey there, Devin. I hope you're doing all right. I hope your day is okay. And I'd be like, oh. The loop is too quiet. Someone says, okay, I can't reference it from here, so I'm going to hope that that's a little better, right? Okay. There's a plugin for Twitch viewers called FFZ that adds a Brickwall audio compressor to the video player. Recommended if you find any stream too quiet. Got it. Okay. I'd love a quad Cortex, but it's too expensive. Planning on getting an HX Stomp instead. Yeah, you know what? The Line 6 stuff is fantastic. That's what I'm using here. It's a Helix, right? But it's great. It's fantastic, right? Yeah, someone asks what it is. It's a Helix. Yeah. I love your guitar with the Mandelbrot set on it. Oh, I'll show it to you then. All right, because it's right over there because I'm working on it for the Ocean Machine show. So let's see. So I'm using this one for Bastard, and yeah. So here it is, and it's got the lights that go. Let's see. Bam. Yeah, it's fantastic. So fantastic enough for me to put on the floor because. If it can't take the heat, it's got to get out of the kitchen. Hey, Dev, where did you learn music theory? I didn't. I only know certain things because I've been told. Like the Lydian thing earlier when I was talking about the seconds and the ninths. Well, I mean, I know music theory enough to get by grade 9 band. But that's it, right? Someone says, play the riff. Okay, of Bastard. Okay, so I'll show you how to play the Bastard riff. So what it is the guitar's tuned to open B, right? Except I take the whatever that string is. So it's usually B, F sharp, B, F sharp, B, D sharp. That's open B. But instead I move this string up to a C sharp, I think. So then on the 4th fret, it's just, right? Then it's up to this one. So that's it. That's the riff. Maybe what we need to do is a stream where we go over riffs. What would you like to see? Maybe some YouTube videos or something. I don't know. Did you see Steve Vai's new music theory for beginners videos? No, I haven't. But Steve is a great teacher, and I think anybody who is interested in theory would benefit from paying attention to what Steve has to say. Can you tell us the origin of Nerd Alert from Guitars That Ate My Brain? There's so many little things like that that I've done over the years that just were like a day's worth of working and thinking, and then I forget about it. Are you going to do a collaboration with Corey Taylor? I've never met Corey Taylor. I think the only people from that band that I met the old drummer years ago, and the guy, the Sean, I did an interview with him, but I didn't really get a sense of connection between us, but you know, they're pretty popular still, and deservedly so. So I have no intention of reaching out to them, but if he wants to do something, maybe, I don't know. I doubt it would happen, though. Do you ever use your thumb for the lowest string? I use it to mute it, I guess. Like if I have a string that's ringing, I'll sort of mute it. Here, let me see if I can actually get a sound going for you guys here, and see if I can actually play some stuff. So how could I do this? I'm gonna try something, okay? Should I do it? No. Here, let's not spend time doing this right now. I will figure this out, and let's do another stream. What day is it today? Thursday? Let's not make it too long before the next one. Maybe we can try it on Saturday, and I'll play some actual riffs for you, and whatever riffs you want to learn, I'll show you. So are my headphones Sennheiser HD? Yeah, the HD 600. I had the 650s for the past 15 years, and I blew them up. They are dead. So I had to buy a new pair, and they only had the 600s, but they're good. They sound much more, they sound pretty much similar. The low end is a little bit different, but on some level, it's a little more true as well. How did you end up working with Haunted Shores? That was just another one of those things. It's like I don't typically do any guest stuff, but if I do it, it's usually because it's people that I've known. And I toured with Periphery for, I think it was like 2 years straight or something like that. And so Misha and Mark and Nolly and everybody, they were just, I saw them every day for 2 years. So it just ended up being a thing that seemed appropriate, I guess. Are there any instruments that you feel drawn to learn to play? It's funny, I thought I would try learning how to play the sitar, but I think unless I had started that when I was very young, the possibilities of me becoming proficient at that after my first lesson I was like, ooh, that's a rough one. But I do like playing the tampur, which is a sort of like an Indian... It's like an instrument that is a support instrument. It's 4 strings that are tuned to different intervals, and it's got a rhythmic pattern that creates a drone. In a sense, it reminds me of playing bass in a strange way. And so I bought a tampur when I was there, and I really enjoy that. But it's hard to play as a solo instrument. We're just going ding, 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 right? But I like it. The work you did with Aryan from Aryan. Well, thank you. Let's see. You should learn to play the hurdy-gurdy. Yeah, there's that hurdy-gurdy scene is just a hard one to break into, though, right? You got to have a certain coolness that I lack. All right. Been learning to play bass over the pandemic. Any advice? You know what I use when I practice bass? If you go on YouTube and you type in backing tracks for bass, there's these kind of 5-minute long drum, guitar, keyboard patterns that have been really helpful for me when I learn to play. So that might be something you could try. Any plans for visiting Copenhagen? Like, man, it's been 2 years now that I've been booked on festivals after festivals. And every year, like, you just keep getting all these messages. They're like, You can't leave your house in Vancouver. There's roadside police checks to make sure that you're not out. And by the way, all the festivals are canceled. So I feel that, like almost any of these problems that we run into, I can't spend a whole lot of energy kicking and screaming about it. Everybody's doing that well enough. Everybody's going bananas all the time. And I've got to maintain some sort of mental equilibrium amongst all this. So what I do is I just try to really get further into my own trip, right? Like try and sort my head out, which Puzzle really helped me with. And now I really want to write me more music, and doing the streams and talking to friends and family and meditation and exercise. And also when you're not that, when you end up, I don't know, eating a whole tube of Pringles followed by a whole bag of Oreos, it's like, that's okay too. There's a certain amount of, as cheesy as this sounds, compassion that I need to have for myself at this point, because it hasn't been easy, right? It hasn't been easy for any of us. So I forget even what the question was, but thank you. You should just write 10 more albums. That's all I do, man. I just keep writing. And then if and when this whole thing levels out, I'll see you then. I still owe people in North America Empath Volume 1. I still owe the band, who is Volume 2, a bunch of shows. There's so many things going on, man. But it's like, you just got to keep working. I think it's really important to not let the chaos of this all drag down your mental state, right? And that's hard to do, clearly. But for me, I just keep going, right? That's it. That's it. And I really want to be able to help in some ways. So, hi, Devin. I have no question, but I had double jaw surgery 10 days ago. I never thought how much I took for granted the ability to eat solid food. Yeah, keep rocking on. I will. There's going to be a fair amount of Oculus sets out there now. Yeah, so, hey, I'm making a virtual reality experience with a company. Experience. Sounds so pretentious. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to take some of the stems from the albums and then separate them, so when you're in this VR realm, you can actually mix the record with these levers, and then depending on how you interpret the stems, like the environment changes. It's really cool. But the idea is to keep making things. Oh yeah, and podcasts. I sat down to do podcasts not only this week, but I also did it last week. And both times, it's just, I've been so tired that it just sucks, right? I think the next podcast that I do will be not specific to any record, because I found that I didn't, and I will go back. But I'm in no rush, really. So I will go back and do Deconstruction and Ghost, because all I did for those was talk about Puzzle. But the next one I do, I think, might not be album specific, right? Whoa, how did you get the super fancy purple ones? Do you ever see yourself remastering or recording Physicist? Maybe. There's so many songs that I've got kind of lined up to do next that I think it might be in my best interest just to get through the new stuff first, right? Whatever happened to your Flying V guitars? You had an ESP in SYL and a PV during Ziltoid album. Yeah. Well, it's funny with guitars, man. So before I want to use my career to monetize a guitar, I want a cool guitar. Does that make sense? So when I was with PV, and they're friends of mine there, and they offered to do some stuff with me. But the ideas that I had, although the first thing that we did was the 7-string Flying V, which I think turned out really well, the ideas that I had that I wanted to continue with would have made a product that was going to be too expensive for them. So they said, well, we don't want to do that because it's going to cost people too much to buy it. And so I said, well, I really want that, though. Like, that's kind of what I want for my work is this. And so when I started going with Framus, they said, well, we'll do whatever you want, and it'll be expensive, but at least you get what you want. And so that's the decision that I made. And ESP I was with for years too, but as cool of a company as that was for me, they didn't have, you know, they didn't really, they were like, okay, these are what we can do, and that's it, right? And so moving forward, it was a little different. This loop is going to drive me crazy. It's going to drive me crazy. So I'm just going to stop this one here. Just give me a second, because I actually had another idea that we might be able to do. So let's go to this. We'll say stop. So I'm going to just scroll here and see if I can find something. So hang on. It's going to be good, guys. All right. So somewhere on here, I must have a patch that is called dev or something. Must, because I remember I made, oh, there it is. Devin Townsend S. Devin Townsend. Devin Heavy. What? Devin Heavy. Devin Townsend. Devin Townsend S. Well, let me try this one, because if that's the case, I could show you some riffs now. Hang on a second. Okay, guitar. All right. So now this one here, we have to go in a different direction. We have to plug this one in this way because we got the barrel jack, and then this one goes into, there is it? Let's see. Right, like this. So let me just see if you can hear this. 2 seconds. All right, so that sounds weird. Hang on a second. Okay, now there's a wah on there, clearly, so let's nuke that. So, bypass. Louder, please? Okay, let's see. Tell me when it's loud enough. More? Okay. Oh, there's a delay on the guitar, right? Because, oh man, it's always something, isn't it? All right, well, maybe if I just don't show you my hands, then I can play it for you and you'll never know. Let's see, so monitor, is there a delay on this? Oh, it looks like, shit, what a pain in the ass. Okay, well, there's a delay on it, so check this out. Can't even see what I'm playing. Now you won't recognize the delay. Huh? Right? Mute the mic, someone says. Okay, so I'm gonna mute the mic. Okay, so you're not gonna hear me, but I'll play you some stuff. Maybe I'll show you the, I don't know. Let's see, I should solve this later. So what are the songs? Okay, I've been trying to figure out how to play Ocean Machine. I'm muting the mic, hang on. This doesn't work. I need to get this sorted out. So the way that I can sort it out now, can I sort it out today? So there's no delay on my vocal mic now, but there's a delay on my guitar mic, or my guitar thing. I could solve that by running it through speakers, and then this microphone picks it up. It won't sound that great, but at least you'll hear it. Okay, so let's try this. So I'm going to go like this, and I'll plug into a different input. And let's see. So if I go like this now, and then we mute this guy, and bear with me. Yeah, I've got loop back, but it's like this one here. Now we go into there. We are. And are we going to there? Yes. Is that going to work? Yes, but I have to open up universal bullshittery here. Hang on a second. And we go. It's going to work, guys. I'll show you some songs. It's going to be super badass. Well, it won't be super badass, but it will be badass. Okay. Create new. Hang on a second. And I will go. I don't want to create from a template because that's lame. And I'll just go bam. And now I'm looking at Pro Tools and not Streamlabs, and we'll see if, so what I'll do is I'll go like this. I'll create this, And I go input like this, and then we should hear it through the speakers, right? Let's hear. Yeah, so now what I'll do is I'll not just get the GP sound, I will also get the direct sound. Hang on a second, I'm almost there, almost there. It's gonna be great. Everybody's gonna be like, yeah, kung fu fighting. All right, so this is the Axe effects again. So this is what I use to record is the Axe effects. So let's see. Functional parameters vary from manifestation to manifestation. All right, turn on the super badass pedal. All right. Let's see. Yeah, this guitar, by the way, like somebody says, it's nicest guitar ever. I may agree. All right, so. Oh, wrong sample rate. It's all making funny noises. Can't do that. All right, so what I got to do is I've got to open this up. Bear with me. It's going to be great. And I'm going to go close session. And no, fuck you. I don't want to keep untitled. But what I do want to do is I want to create a new session. That is not at 44.1. Sort of plebeian uses 44.1. And yes, that already exists, so I'll call it. And let's see. Now, Kung Fu Fighting. 192. Look at you, OBS wizard, you. I am not, but what I am is a troubleshooting motherfucker. All right, so we're going to go stereo. And then we go input 9 and 10, which is AES. The nicest A, the most obscure E, and the most elegant S. All right, so now we have to put this into record or else we will hear nothing. All right, so because what you're hearing is only coming through my GoPro here, it's not going to sound great. But let's see. So let's see if I can think of the songs on Ocean Machine that I've been trying to learn, right? So Life was obviously the but it's really simple because they're an open C, C, G, C, G, C, E, and then I go and some grade school guitar. Is the guitar too loud? Is the guitar... Yeah, punk rock chords, Wonderwall. And after all, you're my Wonderwall. All right, so let's see. Seventh wave is 15 is where it starts. So it's just... all my riffs are like knuckle dragging riffs, right? So basically the chorus for that one is just I'll wait for the ocean to rise up to me. Like, that's it. So yeah, Bastard, I'll play that one to show you that how to play. I mean, all the Ocean Machine stuff is easy to play, guys. Like it's, you know, people say, oh, you should do a tab book on that. And I think, well, it's not super fun though. It's just like, you know. Right? And then Bastard, like I was showing you a minute ago, bam, is like this. Yeah. On the floor with ye, insufferable lunatic. So that is so what I've been doing here, I'll show you this. This is actually kind of cool. So basically, what I do for the live streams, and I'll play it for you here, just a bit, just to show you. So it starts by, I have to redo the drums. So I do that in Superior Drummer, and then I have to redo the bass, and then I have to redo the samples, and then I make a session in Pro Tools that has a MIDI track that then sends to the Axe effects through USB, and it sends program changes and control changes that I then line up to the click track, and the click track I send to my ears on a different channel so it doesn't come through the stream. And then I run like an auxiliary, not an auxiliary track, because recording the vocals and the guitar live with the backing tracks, like I want to have the vocal effects too. So what I do is I make the vocals, my input for my vocal track, with two sends that send to effects tracks that are always on. So like there's, maybe it's 2 or 3. One's got a long echo, one's got a ping pong echo, one's got a reverb. But then I just mute those tracks, like the send to those tracks, when the part that I don't want it to be comes along. And then that way I can sort of automate the effects without having people there. So I'll show you the session here. Let me see if I can make a new scene here that allows me to. So if I went add new scene, let's see. So I go add new scene, and I'll go. Hang on, sorry. I'll be back in a second. Talk to yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh wait, I could copy that scene, can't I? Can I just go? Oh, I can. I go duplicate scene, bam. And then on this one, which is the duplicate, I'm now going to add a window capture. And we go, bam, window capture, add source, right? And then we go, let's see, select option. We go, Axe Edit. No, does it allow me to do just a desktop? Sorry, I'm almost there. It's going to be great. So I go, let's do that again. Display capture, that's what I want. I don't want Windows capture. So I go display capture. Yes, now we should have that. Okay. Can you hear me still? You can hear me, can you not? Yeah. Yes, okay, great. So here's where I'm at with the Ocean Machine session. So I have like the tracks, and then the click tracks, and then the Axe Effect stuff. So then I can have the parts automate. See, these are all the guitar, like this would be my GP sound, and then it's like a quieter one, and then it's like the heavy sound. And then I try and space it, so all I have to do is press record on the 2 main tracks down here, vocals and guitar, and then I can just let it go, right? And then all my changes will happen. So, for example, I don't know, like, oh, I'm in Bastard land here. So if I go to Bastard, let's see if this comes through, right? So I go, right? And so now it should be
Bastard 8.
So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
8. Right? So it's all, so I can just kind of let it play, and then I can program the drums and everything. So I can mix it at this stage, so when it's finally done, I just have a stereo track.
1, 2, 3,
See, now the guitar
4,
change
5,
happens?
6, 7.
And that top line, the Axe MIDI, is all the guitar changes. Now, oh, check this out. I'll go like this. Wait. I can make this a little smaller way. So let's see if we make this go like, look at this. Yeah, you can see me playing too. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing, and that's going to be the rest of my day, too. So I'm going to go back to this scene. Watch this. Bam! None of that. There you go. So the process of getting this stuff set up is admittedly a pain in the dick. Like, for real. But by the end of it, it's, like, super cool. And so what we've been trying to do with Ocean Machine is find a way to make it sound really close to the record. Like, I tried to replicate the original drums, and so we're trying to get it to look a certain way. So the look of the Ocean Machine stream is going to be cool too, right? So where were we here? Have you considered behind the scenes videos for these live streams? Oh, that's a good idea. Huh, that's interesting. Maybe we can do that for the Ocean Machine one. That might be neat, actually. It looks like work. Yeah, man. It is. Everything's work. Everything's work. Someone says, have you tried any new food during lockdown? I had a custard apple yesterday and it was fucking shite. One of the biggest problems with being locked down, so to speak, is that when dinner comes around, specifically if you and your family are like some sort of dietary thing, like vegetarian, and you're just like, oh shit, it's dinner again? Like, what are we gonna eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? I don't know. What do we got? I don't know. Spaghetti. So I've tried nothing new, but I make this horrible juice for myself that I drink as often as I can. That is really great. Hey, thanks for that, Sam. I make this horrible juice that is so good for my brain in the morning. You want to talk about being an old man? So the juice that I have, so I have an Omega 3000 or whatever it is. It's like a really cool masticating juicer. And so I put in it a green apple, a kiwi fruit, half a lime, a big chunk of ginger, 3 things of kale, 2 sticks of celery, a handful of parsley, turmeric, black pepper. What else? There's something else in there. Oh, and a cucumber. And it's like, but I tell you what, for breakfast, that is so good, man. Yeah. Your juicer chews stuff for you? Yes, it does. Yeah, I got one of those special magical juicers that I think they have spoke of in hushed tones in several J.K. Rowling's books. Let's see. Oh, okay, so let me just scroll down here. Whoa, middle-aged man, someone says. That's true. The more restrictive your diet, the more creative you need to be. Yeah. Well, I mean, but I think a lot of the restrictions of my diet are not for the sake of the restrictions. Well, maybe they are. I like the idea of having like some sort of daily discipline, because otherwise my tendency is to become completely undisciplined, and that doesn't help anything, right? Someone says, with an exclamation mark, Jean Jambret. True. Chunk of ginger. Got it. Delicious Bloody Mary, someone says. That's a breakfast. Sounds like the recipe for an ulcer. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe my swamp gas juice, pond scum, as some people in my life affectionately call it, is what's messing my stuff up, right? Dev, you need to chew that stuff up to get the benefits. Yeah, but I like drinking it because it's like easier. I think sometimes in the morning when there's all sorts of things going on and there's all sorts of emails that need to be mailed, you ever have that thing where you're eating cereal and you're like, oh, it's taking too long? It's like chewing takes too long. So sometimes I I like the juicer thing. Someone says, I'd like to know the lyrics to Total Collapse. Thank you for the donation. I don't know the lyrics to Solar Collapse. Total Collapse. I don't know. What is it? How's that one go? Is that the one that's like, die, everybody goes in the end now. I know the way you gotta go, send me to war. And on his day, honey, now go away. I don't know what those ones are about, actually. What have I been up to for the past couple of weeks? I have been turning myself inside out with work, and that continues today. It's crazy. I posted on Twitter the other day, I don't know if any of you saw that, the workload recently seems like Robotron, like that video game where you just stand in a circle and shoot wildly in all directions in hopes that you're just holding off the torrent of things that need to be done, more so than making actual progress. Kingdom, what's the story behind that track? Well, I think a lot of it for me, Kingdom exists in two places. It exists in Physicist, where it was essentially an apology, and then on Epicloud it exists more like an affirmation in a way. I think that all of us, I would be suspicious of anybody who says this isn't the case with them, but maybe there are people, I don't know. When you make mistakes, unless you're a masochist, you try and learn from them, right? You try and hope that that has resulted in you learning some sort of a lesson. But then, you may slip back and all these sorts of things as well. But trying to keep a perspective on what the reasons were in the beginning that caused you to make those mistakes has been really informative for me. To be able to say, okay, well, what led you there was this. More so than the event itself. It's like that psychology led you there, I suppose. So I think Kingdom exists in two places, because when it first started, I was just like, holy fuck, I'm sorry. And then the second place was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I figured it out. Middle-aged man and proud, someone says, yes. Got a rice cooker before the panorama revolutionized my lazy life. I love rice cookers. Okay, so what have you been cooking? Here's a question for you all. What have you been cooking? And I'll answer any funny stories about Japan after. For me, for example, there's a brand of rice that I've always liked since I was a kid that we get here. Is called, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Kakuko Rose or something. It's like a short grain Japanese rice. Kahuo or whatever it is. That sounds more Hawaiian. But I found a good way to cook that where you boil it and then you simmer it for 15 minutes and you keep the top on for 5 minutes. And then I have made a sauce that goes with it that is sesame oil, soy sauce, Kikkoman soy sauce, a shitload of ginger, some sriracha, a bit of rice wine vinegar. And then I fry an egg and then I put it on there with some green stuff, whether or not that's like broccoli or green onions or what have you. And I put all the sauce on it. It's not particularly healthy, but it's a yummy. What about you guys? What do you got? Someone's been cooking Spam. Keeping the top on is real tech. Yeah, I found that on a YouTube video. I felt like what tends to happen is when I find a technique, whether or not it's for cooking or anything, and I employ it once and it works, then all of a sudden I become like an aficionado and I try and spell it out to people like I know what I'm doing. I'm like, well, the problem with your rice is that you're not keeping the top on, right? What was the process for writing Singularity? Oh, before I get to that, I got two more things. Lots of fish grilling, shakshuka, rice and scrambled eggs. Yeah, it's a great combo, isn't it? Enchiladas, I love enchiladas. Rye bread, I like that. Curry Taylor, PB and banana sandwich, that's good too. You know what I find really is not a good breakfast for me? Bagels. It like makes me dumb. I think it's just because it's a carbohydrate and it's just super heavy and my brain's just like, garlic naan bread. So before I talk about Singularity, somebody had asked a few minutes ago, any funny stories about Japan? I spent a lot of time in Japan. In the mid-90s, I was there so much. And I actually had an apartment there for a very short period of time. No funny stories. I mean, it was such a interesting experience. But I did like the fact that when I first traveled to Fukuoka, it was "fuck you, okay." And that actually ends up on the Ocean Machine record as well, right? Steak, asparagus, and red skin potatoes. Sounds good, but the asparagus makes my whiz smell terrible. So I'm going to have to pass. So Singularity. A couple of you asked about Singularity. Well, how is that written? It was written in sections, and then I tried to find pieces that could tie it together. And then over time, I would listen to it as a whole, and then wherever it seemed like it wasn't flowing, I would then try and modify those connecting sections, and then that ended up modifying like the middle to the end and the beginning to the end of the parts before and after. And then I just slowly started to piece it together until it had like a consistent trajectory and a climax with "Here Comes the Sun" or whatever it is. Is that it? "Here Comes the Sun"? I don't remember. But I tend to find that things are done when they're done, right? And I promised I wouldn't talk about it, but I lied about a lot of other things too, so I might as well. I think that's the thing about Puzzle. It's so weird is it's not like that. Puzzle's just, it's not like that. It's not like Singularity where it's like a bunch of things that have a trajectory and it ends. It's like, it's a mess. That's what it was. You'll see. Like the first thing we're putting out is the film, right? So you'll see that. Would you do more collaborations with Isan in the future? Isan's a great dude. He is a great dude. He is a peaceful, calm, talented, friendly human being. And I really enjoy his company. And so, yeah, sure. But, you know, I'd rather go for coffee. Sometimes messes are beautiful. Well, there's the thing about it, is the Puzzle thing. I've never been more emotional making a record ever in my life than with Puzzle. But it's a mess. It's a mess. But it's honestly where I was at. So I want to follow it up with light work right away, so people who listen to it and be like, what the fuck is this? Will be like, oh, okay, well, in 2 months we've got songs, right? But man, I've never been more emotional than it was like throwing up for 6 months. And that's what it sounds like. It just sounds like pools of vomit. So enjoy. We got box sets and toys, and it was therapy. It's exactly what it was. When you're writing Spirits, did you realize how special it was? Well, I mean, thank you, first off. But I say it every time, and I'll say it again. It's like anything that's special about the music is what you're able to represent. And I figured out the name of that artist in the UK who I heard the quote that made so much sense to me. Her name was Maggie Handler. She's great. If you ever look, there's these specials on her, and she's just super intense, right? But she had said that the only art that she feels responsible for is the shitty stuff, and I thought that was such an accurate quote. And when she was pressed to express that further, she said, well, it's the only times that she couldn't get her ego out of the way, because to do things that are really helpful to people, it's like you can't be in the middle of it, because it's like, it's not like you as an artist are, that's not what helps. It's the fact that you're out of your own way so you can just sort of represent something that's cooler than you are, right? So with Spirits and anything like that, my only hope is that my own trip is like out of the way enough for what it wants to be to come through, right? I tried listening to DevLab the other day, but just couldn't get it. Then you might want to hold off on Puzzle. You might want to hold off on Puzzle. But I had to do it. And here's the thing about it that was super interesting for me is not only did I have to do it, but it had to be super extravagant. So the box set has got a video screen, a graphic novel, a written novel, a kid's book that I've done, 4 little plastic toys, this little stuffed animal, a 7-inch video screen, 2 USB sticks with like 4 versions of each album and the film. And the whole time I was thinking like, dude, what are you doing this for? And I was like, I don't know. It just seems like that's what it's supposed to be. But, you know, that's why I'm writing light work as well, because there's going to be some people that absolutely hate it. They just think it sucks. You know, friends of mine, most of friends of mine are just like, dude, I don't get this. And I'm like, I know, but I had to do it. I don't know what to tell you, right? All right. So just wanted to say that you're the only band I could make any sense of at Bloodstock 2011. Thanks. Oh my God, I'm living for this box set nonsense. Yeah, I think the most important part of this whole process for me is just I have to be straight up with myself about where I'm at. That's it. And sometimes that's going to result in songs like Kingdom or Deadhead or Spirits Will Collide, and other times it's going to result in just noise. But that's, you know, the only way that I can represent things that are eventually really beautiful, like what light work is supposed to be, is by being honest with myself that things aren't always like that. You know, I think a lot of times we end up spending all this time sort of pretending that we're more sussed out than we actually are. And I don't think that helps creatively. I think it makes much more sense to be like, right now, it's like difficult. So that's what it is. What time is it? Holy crap, it's 1:30. I've got so much work to do, guys. I'm going to try and get back on Saturday, and I'll try and set it up so that I have a direct feed from my Axe Effects to this without any delay, so that I can play and sing some songs for you. That'll help me too, because I can start getting my voice ready for the stream. So for those of you who aren't familiar or don't know, I'm doing a live stream of Ocean Machine, the whole album, on May 1st, so it's like a week and a half from now. And you can get tickets, DevinTownsendShop.com, I think that's what it is. And yeah, so I've got to get that done because I'm still behind on it and there's so much work to do. So I've got to go. And it's been great spending time with you, and I really hope you are able to keep yourselves focused. I guess the whole idea with a triathlon is it's not important to win it. You just want to get across the finish line, right? So keep going. So I'll try and see you on Saturday. I'll try and sing some songs. And thank you so much for everything, okay? And I will see you guys hopefully on Saturday. And if you can make it to the live stream, that's great. I'm sure it'll be up on YouTube after, so you can enjoy it there too. Puzzle is done, thank God, and I start recording Lightwork in 2 weeks. So the puzzle thing is just, I had to do it. It's not going to appeal to many, but I had to do it, and I feel like so cleaned out for having done it. So its importance to me creatively is undeniable. See you guys on Saturday, okay? You guys take care of yourselves, and don't let the bed bugs bite. And other platitudes. Can't make a silk ear out of a sow's ball sack. 2 bushels of snowballs in the master's quarters mean sunshine in April. See ya. Take care of yourselves.